Surprising. This is the biggest fight in Japanese history between two, elite Japanese fighters. And I understand styles make fights. I get it. But in this case, I guess what I'm reacting to is Inoue is what I consider one of these super fighters. His speed, his reflexes, his power. Mike, what's the word I always like to use? The
twitchies.
Twitchies are different. Right? They're elite. And Junto is like as good as it gets for a normally excellent fighter.
And I also think, I just won't be surprised. And as you all know, I already have. I'm going with Junto as the favorite in this, as far as my personal. So it won't be a big upset to me. I can't see someone with his type of technically sound game, with his system, with his work rate. I just don't see guys like that ever as an underdog in any type of fight.
Max Kellerman offers a compelling analysis of the much-anticipated showdown between Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani, breaking down how their unique fighting styles, key strengths, and strategic approaches could shape the outcome of the bout.
Clash of two top 10 pound-for-pound fighters. The number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in all the world, the monster, Naoya Inoue, takes on number 6 Junto Nakatani at the Tokyo Dome.
Kellerman notes that the matchup between Inoue and Nakatani isn't receiving significant attention in the United States. He explains that this is largely due to 2 factors. The fight features lighter weight divisions, which traditionally draw less interest from American audiences, and it is being held in Japan, making it feel geographically and culturally distant from viewers in the U.S.
Ordinarily, when you have a clash of top 10 pound-for-pounders, there's a lot of buildup. But this one feels as though, at least from where we're sitting in LA, that it's flown a bit under the radar. Now, in the first place, it's 2 tiny division fighters, right? Once you get below lightweight, especially featherweight, the American public has a tendency anyway to think, well, they're kind of tiny guys and be a little less interested. They're both Japanese fighters, and so the fight's taking place halfway around the world from here, and they haven't been marketed in this country the way they've been marketed in Japan for obvious reasons. And also, Inoue is about a 3-1 favorite, so it's not considered a 50-50.
Kellerman identifies Naoya Inoue as the clear frontrunner in the matchup, with betting odds placing him at roughly 3-1. However, he cautions that Junto Nakatani should not be dismissed too quickly. To illustrate his point, he brings up the classic Tyson Holyfield dynamic, where a heavily favored champion still encountered major resistance from a technically gifted and dangerous opponent who was fully capable of pushing elite competition to the limit.
Tyson Holyfield. Does this have a little shade of that, where Mike Tyson would have always been a big favorite against Holyfield, right? In retrospect, he shouldn't have been, but at the time he would have been. Then he loses, goes to prison. Holyfield becomes champion. And going into their fight, which had been postponed for years, Mike hadn't looked as good since he was still champ. He had looked better than he had in years, beating the hell out of Frank Bruno. Better than he'd beaten Frank Bruno the first time, even though Bruno was coming off a good win. While Holyfield fought a blown-up middleweight, ultimately, in Bobby Chez, and looked horrible. So heading into that fight, people thought Tyson would win anyway, but now it was like, okay. Inoue looked better than Nakatani last time out. Nakatani really
When Max Kellerman showed a preference for Naoya Inoue as the likely winner, boxing journalist Mike Coppinger disagreed. He argued that the fight should not be viewed as heavily tilted in one direction, emphasizing that the matchup is much more balanced and far more competitive than it may first appear.
Much closer to a 55-45 fight, maybe in favor of Inoue. And look, Inoue is a future Hall of Famer, first ballot. He's an all-time great, so he deserves that respect. And I was ringside on the call for those 2 fights in December in Riyadh. And like Malik said, that was a really tough style. Nakatani, Sebastian Hernandez, pressure style, Mexican, first fight at 122. So to me, I felt more encouraged going into this fight instead of less. And I just think maybe it's flying under the radar because it's going to be on very early morning in the U.S. This fight's in Japan. Just this morning, they announced, Max, this is a sold-out fight at the Tokyo Dome. They're going to have 55,000.
Jesse Bam Rodriguez expressed admiration for both Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani, describing them as top-tier champions. He mentioned that he leans a bit toward Inoue, pointing to his combination of speed, punching power, and ring experience. Rodriguez also stated that he would be willing to take on the winner at any point, suggesting that such a matchup feels unavoidable as long as he continues his winning run.
about down the line, not next, but definitely down the line, would love to see you fight either against Nakatani or Inoue. Do you want to maybe say who you favor in that fight between the two?
I think Inoue wins the fight. Just because he has more experience. He's been in the weight division longer than Nakatani has, so I do favor Inoue, but Nakatani, he does have a chance as well, just because he has that kind of one-punch power.
Maybe that could be the big fight in your hometown, right?
Yeah, hopefully. If not, I don't mind going to Japan either. I love going to Japan. I love
That would
spending.
be cool.
Yeah, I love spending time there. So
Oh, so you have traveled there before?
yeah, I've been there plenty of times. But like I said, either San Antonio or Japan, I don't care where.
Experienced trainer Joel Diaz shares the view that Naoya Inoue's combination of power and accuracy may be overwhelming for Junto Nakatani, and he foresees the contest ending before the distance. He explains that Inoue's sharp timing, effective attacks to the body, and ability to close fights at an elite level could gradually wear Nakatani down and lead to a stoppage prior to the final round.
Inoue, you've faced him a couple times against Nakatani. Just how do you think how one goes?
You know, I've been against Inoue twice. You know, and I seen that fighter in person. I mean, I've been in the ring with him. He's fast. He's strong, confident. And I've also been against Nakatani. I've been against Nakatani before with Tito Acosta. I just think that Nakatani will put up a fight, but Inoue will stop it.
Inoue's he's been dropped by a few left hands. Donaire hurt him with a left hand.
But he gets up and he still wins. But I just think that Nakatani, I mean, he's not ready for Inoue yet. I just think that fight will end up in a knockout.
Multi-division world champion Nonito Donaire has spoken highly of Naoya Inoue, labeling him the most formidable and hardest-hitting opponent of his career. He pointed to Inoue's explosive power, sharp precision, and relentless offensive pressure. Donaire also acknowledged that their encounters stretched him to his absolute limit, reinforcing just how exceptional Inoue is at the highest level of the sport.
It comes down to a lot of things, you know. I think the best guy that I faced, and maybe perhaps if I was younger, it might be a different story, but at the moment of who I am in this time, I would say Inoue is the toughest that I've faced, or the strongest that I've faced.
You mentioned Inoue as probably potentially the best fighter that you've faced in your career. What is it about him that gives you that perception?
I think it was like facing the younger me. You know, there's just a lot of similarities in terms of power, explosiveness, and sometimes intelligence. You know, but I think a lot of it is given the similarities is what makes it more.
Chris Algieri believes the clash between Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani would stay competitive throughout, with Inoue ultimately coming out on top in a tight contest decided on the scorecards. He expects the fight to go the full distance, with judges possibly favoring Inoue by unanimous or majority decision instead of a quick stoppage. Algieri also anticipates a strategic back-and-forth battle featuring changes in momentum, potential knockdowns from either boxer, and exchanges at a very high technical level, fueled by both fighters' sharp timing, accuracy, and punching power.
So this is another one that's going to be neck and neck. I'm going off of Inoue because of the experience that he has and who he's done it with. You know, that Fulton destruction was a beautiful thing, and that was all boxing IQ. That was an IQ. That wasn't about speed. That wasn't about power. That was IQ, and he set everything up beautifully with the jab. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Naoya Inoue on IQ as well.
All right, it's time for our predictions. Inoue versus Nakatani. I always go first. I'm putting you on the clock.
Mike Coppinger pointed out that a dominant win by Naoya Inoue over Junto Nakatani could strengthen his case for the top spot in the pound-for-pound rankings, potentially even placing him ahead of Oleksandr Usyk. Still, he noted that such a shift would also rely on Usyk's current position in the sport and how the broader landscape of elite boxing looks at that moment.
Does Inoue then have a case for Usyk's #1 pound-for-pound spot? Mike?
Yes, absolutely, Max. I mean, we're talking about knocking off the pound guy. If he does it in fashion, I think you have to put Inoue #1 at that point. I mean, obviously, especially when you compare Usyk's going to be fighting Rico Verhoeven, right, a kickboxer, so he's not going to be able to really strengthen his resume, even if he blows out Verhoeven. Whereas if Inoue, if he beats Nakatani in fashion, in convincing I think you have to put him number 1.
Malik Scott expressed the view that Naoya Inoue deserves consideration for the top position in the pound-for-pound rankings, or at least to be placed alongside Alexander Usyk near the summit. He supported this argument by pointing to the high-level opposition Inoue has already overcome, as well as the challenging fighters he is expected to encounter going forward, all of which reinforce his claim as one of boxing's very best.
Rocky 3, you know, if you start fighting the wrestler or the kickboxer, it makes it hard, especially if people are bringing up, what about Caballel? What about obviously Moses Atama? And you're opting instead, or the names you're mentioning, how about this kickboxer? How about Deontay Wilder, who's past his prime? And you're 38 years old? I think what Mike is saying has validity. Where are you with that?
I'm with Mike on that totally, especially it doesn't help right now because Usyk is fighting, you know, a kickboxer. He's basically taking a chance with something that, you know, many of us wouldn't even consider a risk with the kickboxer. And then when you turn the page and you look at what Inoue is facing and maybe possibly facing in the future, considering Espinoza, considering Van Rodriguez, I would say you have to put him right under Usyk, if not over top.
Max Kellerman noted that Naoya Inoue looks like the more established and physically imposing fighter on paper, but he warned that his progression through weight classes shouldn't be viewed too simply. He explained that although Inoue has climbed several divisions, each move only involves a small increase in weight, unlike the dramatic jumps seen in some historic boxing careers. Kellerman also pointed out that Inoue's exceptional punching power may not translate with the same impact as he continues to move up, particularly when matched with naturally larger opponents. He added that bouts against top-tier fighters, such as Rafael Espinoza, could potentially reveal limitations, as size differences, resilience, and overall competition level become much more demanding in the higher weight classes.
Is the biggest threat. Okay.
I mean, that's a great one.
I agree with you on paper. However, again, Inoue has already jumped a bunch of divisions.
Right.
Now, let's not overstate it. In that weight territory, a division is 4 pounds. So it's not like he moved up the way Pacquiao moved all the way up to junior middleweight. But he has moved up a bunch.
He's
Mike,
nice though, Max.
He's nice with his hands, but also he was a devistating puncher until just now.
Yes.
And now you're asking him to go one more division up to fight a killer in that division. You like Inoue's chances more than Shushu's or Angelo Leo or anyone's?
I like Inoue. He has a ceiling though. He has a ceiling concerning going up in the weight classes.
Inoue.
Yes, but to be clear, I'm not saying I'd pick Inoue over Espinoza.
Right.
You said the best shot. Yes,
Right.
for me, it's no question because the only elite fighter I think at featherweight is Espinoza. And I agree, Shushu and a couple of more fights will be more ready.
Yes.
I don't think Shushu's ever going to be on the level of Espinoza the way I see him right now. And I think if you talk to people behind the scenes, that's the conventional.
If Naoya Inoue comes out victorious, many experts believe his next step should be a showdown with either Jesse Bam Rodriguez or Rafael Espinoza. 2 matchups widely seen as high-risk, but high-reward fights that could heavily shape his legacy. Each opponent brings a completely different threat. Rodriguez is known for his elite hand speed, technical sharpness, and all-around pound-for-pound skill set. Espinoza, on the other hand, presents a major physical challenge with his height, strength, and relentless pressure at a higher weight division. Malik Scott stresses that when discussing a fighter at Inoue's level, attention should be reserved only for opponents who truly pose a real threat, not just solid contenders. In his view, Bam Rodriguez and Rafael Espinoza stand out as the only 2 fighters who would provide meaningful tests. He further argues that greatness should be judged by facing the toughest available challenges, and these 2 names represent the most realistic and compelling obstacles for Inoue's future path.
Who would you then most like to see him face next, Mike? Is it like, let's hold on. Let's just say, is it anyone other than either Bam moving up or Inoue moving up to fight Espinoza?
No, that's it. Those are the 2 options, Max. And I want to see Bam first before Inoue moves up. We have Bam moving up to 118 in June for the first time. So he's getting closer now. And I want to see that fight next if Inoue does win as expected. Again, I'm not sleeping on Nakatani at all, though. I think Nakatani is going to give Inoue all he can handle. But so talking about lower weights, Inoue and Bam Rodriguez is one of the biggest fights probably in history below 126.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bam, the reason, Malik, that you look at Inoue and Bam, should Inoue beat Nakatani, is those are both special, super, top 5 pound for pound, twitchy, speed, power, skill, the whole thing type fighters, and that's always a super.
Jesse Rodriguez has openly stated that he is prepared to step in with Naoya Inoue, making it clear he sees the clash as something bound to happen. He believes that if both fighters keep their winning momentum, the matchup will eventually come together on its own in the near future. Rodriguez has even indicated he is willing to travel to Japan if necessary to help bring the fight to agreement, showing how serious he is about securing the opportunity. He considers Inoue one of the toughest challenges in boxing and is actively working toward earning that fight. With conversations already taking place between promotional teams and interest coming from both sides, the potential bout is already being talked about as one of the most highly anticipated fights in the sport's future.
When Inoue finally getting in there, that's a fight that will define this era in the lower weight classes?
I think so. I think me against Inoue would definitely be, if not one of the biggest fights in the lower weight divisions.
Do you have a preference of where?
Junto Nakatani has spoken highly of Naoya Inoue, describing him as the leading pound-for-pound fighter in the sport. He explained that Inoue separated himself from the rest of the boxing world through a rare blend of speed, punching power, timing, and fight IQ. Nakatani pointed out that Inoue's success across several weight classes, while still carrying knockout ability, is something very uncommon at the highest level. He also noted how difficult it is to prepare for an opponent with such sharp accuracy and non-stop pressure, since very few boxers possess a comparable skill set. Even as a top contender himself, Nakatani framed his comments with admiration rather than rivalry, reinforcing the broader view within boxing circles that Inoue is either at the very top or firmly among the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world today.
Who do you think is pound for pound #1 boxer on the planet right now?
今パウンドパウンドで一番強い選手っていうのはどなたというふうにお考えですか？
まあ僕の名前を言いたいところですけど、まあ井上選手を評価しているので、まあその井上選手に勝ってパウンド4パウンド1になりたいなっていうふうに思ってます。
I would have been preferred if I could say I myself, but he's embarrassed, but in a way.
Tim Bradley described Junto Nakatani as a smart, long-armed fighter who uses his reach and range to keep opponents at his preferred distance. He explained that Nakatani is most comfortable when controlling space, dictating the pace from the outside. However, Bradley also highlighted that when opponents manage to step inside, Nakatani becomes dangerous in close exchanges, often slipping in shots between combinations and capitalizing on small openings. He suggested that this sharp timing and ability to counter in tight moments could pose problems for Naoya Inoue if he makes any errors. Bradley further noted that Inoue can occasionally lower his lead hand when unleashing powerful punches and may find himself slightly off balance if he misses. Those brief lapses, he said, are exactly the kind of opportunities a fighter with Nakatani's reach and counterpunching skills would try to exploit. Even so, Bradley emphasized that Inoue's greatest asset is his ability to adjust mid-fight. He can change tempo, distance, and tactics depending on what the opponent presents. That flexibility, he concluded, is what makes this matchup so intriguing at the highest level, both highly technical and potentially explosive.
He's a clever fighter, man. He is. He's a very long, rangy type of fighter, but he needs distance. Oh, yeah, he needs distance. But in the meantime, while you're trying to close distance and you letting your hands go, he's looking to punch in between your shots, too. And that's why I think he can catch and hurt in a way, for real. That's why I think in between, in a way, probably would throw a big shot. Usually when he throws big punches, he drops the opposite hand, or usually when Inoue throws a big shot, and if he misses, he's out of position sometimes. And Nakatani gonna be looking to fill those holes, man. He gonna look to fill those holes. Remember, he got the longer reach. He's so at 68.5, not that much, 1 inch. Believe it or not, Inoue got some pretty long arms. You know, for 5'5", at 67.5. but there's gonna be a height difference. So Inoue's gonna have to, punch up, at Nakatani, which could shorten that distance a little bit for him. He's gonna have to really step in, and I think that's the beauty about Inoue.
A win over Naoya Inoue would mark a defining milestone in Junto Nakatani's career, significantly reshaping his standing in the boxing world. Since Inoue is viewed as one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the sport, pulling off an upset would immediately raise Nakatani's international profile and establish him as a major force at the highest level. Such a result would also likely unlock much bigger opportunities for him, including headline pay-per-view events and potential clashes with other world champions across different divisions. It could even speed up his progression into heavier weight classes, where more financially rewarding and legacy-shaping fights become available. On top of that, defeating someone of Inoue's reputation would turn Nakatani into a major draw in boxing, driving greater demand for his bouts and firmly placing him among the sport's elite names.
If Junto Nakatani springs the upset, Malik, you said it wouldn't even be an upset, right? Do you think that would mean, as I said earlier, we would see a rematch because Inoue is such a big star? Or are there other possibilities for Nakatani, Malik?
Max, it's this thing in boxing that goes on, right? That sometimes when the right guy wins, big things happen in boxing, bigger things happen in boxing. But in this case, not saying Nakatani would be the wrong guy, but the numbers say that he shouldn't win. And if he win, he doesn't, in my opinion, people won't call for and demand the crossover fights like him fighting Ben Rodriguez, like him fighting Espinoza. And that's just like that. I would like that. That would be a little bit the unfair part about boxing, is because some guys are picked because the bigger fights fans get more excited about. And if the underdog, quote unquote, with Nakatani is supposed to be coming and win, a lot of people's like, okay, well, I guess where do we go from here now? They're not as excited. But saying that, I still have Nakatani winning.
So who takes this one? Inoue's explosive power or Nakatani's sharp timing and precision? Let your predictions be known in the comments section below.